Hello everyone, me and my shiny face are welcoming you to my channel again. Just kidding, I am so glad you tuned in today because I'm super pumped for this video. Today we are discussing the new foundations from Benefit, their Hello Happy Flawless Brightening Foundation and their Hello Happy Velvet Powder Foundation. So these two are kind of the siblings to the already existing Hello Happy Soft Blur Foundation, which by the way, I really like this one. Therefore, I am super excited to try out these and especially the powder foundation, because if you have been following me, you know that I'm not really a foundation person. I prefer a powder foundation, so I'm excited. I did buy the foundation and powder at the stand. I was originally planning to get it online. I was going to base it off the Soft Blur foundation that I already had, so I was gonna get it in the shade 3, but I tried the shade 3 and it was just way too pale for me. Instead, I decided to go a shade up, which is the shade 4, and also I got the shade 4 in the powder. Now it is a teensy bit dark, but I'd rather have it dark than too light, because whenever I have a foundation that is too light on me, I just look like a ghost, and no matter the amount of bronzer I put on, I still end up looking like a ghost. Plus, I do have one more summer holiday coming up. I'm going to Spain, so hopefully we'll get a nice tan and then that foundation should match me perfectly. I was looking at the shade range online and wasn't really surprised of the shade range. I think there's only about 12 shades. Shade range for the Soft Blur foundation was pretty similar. You know, maybe they are testing the waters, see how this foundation sells, and they might extend into a bigger range. We don't know that. I do remember the girl kind of saying that these shades, they kind of range a bit lighter. So if you do have the Soft Blur foundation, she was kind of saying like maybe go a bit darker because you might get a shade that's too light, which is exactly what's happened to me. But quite honestly, for foundations and powder foundations, I would always recommend going to the counter and getting yourself matched, unless you already know what foundation you wear. Then you can, order online. So let me actually show you what the packaging looks like, because I've been just showing you the carton or the unicarton. I don't know what you call those, the box. I've been just showing you the box. So this is the foundation. It is glass and frosted glass, and it has that little smiley face here. I think for me, the packaging on this one is 10 out of 10. I mean, it's so cute and it actually does feel very luxurious. I think glass packaging is a first for Benefit. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. But if you do compare it to its brother, the Soft Blur foundation, I mean, this kind of looks like kids makeup. I mean, still adorable, but this looks kind of like adult makeup. And then let me just quickly show you the powder foundation. Also super cute. Look at that smiley face. It just makes you happy, hence the name Hello Happy. So this is what the powder looks like. There is a smiley face in the powder. I don't know if you can see it. I did use this as well already, so it might be a little bit faded. You do get a mirror in here, and also you get a brush and a sponge. Like, I like the sponge. These kind of brushes, they're not really good for applying powder, but for the purpose of this video, I'm actually gonna try and use these. I have tried the foundation and the powder once before, so it's not my first impressions, but I will do a check-in at the end of the video for you, just to kind of show you how it looks after like 6 or 8 hours, so you can get a better understanding. To me, the staying power of both of them it's pretty average. It's very similar to the Soft Blur foundation and the powder foundation. It's not some miracle powder that you don't need to touch up. I still need to touch it up after a few hours. Especially here in the T-zone, my dry skin has turned into like combinational skin. I don't really know how to feel about that. I was always kind of happy with my dry skin, but now this part definitely needs to be topped up. Doesn't matter what powder I'm wearing. I asked the girl at the counter who was selling the Benefit products, what's the difference between this foundation and the Soft Blur foundation, because they're in a sense kind of similar. I mean, they're both brightening foundation, they both have SPF 15. But let me read you a little bit from the packaging. So it is said here that it has photochromic pigments, instantly adapts to brighten skin in any lighting, so natural light or studio light. Flower acids help boost radiance. Hyaluronic acid helps keep skin hydrated. So apparently this one is more hydrating, and the finish is supposedly a lot more dewy rather than like a semi-matte as on the Soft Blur foundation. So if you have really oily skin, I don't think this would be a good fit, but you know, if you have oily skin and you have tried it, let me know. What else does it say? It does say it's 12-hour long wear and medium coverage versus sheer medium on the soft blur foundation. I was thinking for this video I will show you how the powder performs on its own on my skin, and then we will do the foundation with the powder on top as well. I have zoomed you guys in closer so you can see how I actually apply the powder. I'm really excited for this. I have worn it once before and it is really velvety, so I do enjoy that. Usually when I wear powder foundation, I do like to spot conceal a little bit, so that's what I'm gonna do first. I'm just gonna use my Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer for this. Just concealing a few spots on the face. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. And usually when I do wear powder foundation, I don't put concealer under the eyes because it makes me look cakey. Let's just blend out the concealer real quick. So I said I wanted to try the powder foundation with the tools it came with, so let's try to use the brush on one side and then the sponge on the other. And if that doesn't work, I'm just gonna revert to my regular powder brush. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the brush. They say that if you want a lighter application, you should use this brush, but I just can't see this working. Okay, so let's do this side with the brush. I think the powder matches me pretty good. So I can tell you I don't like to use this brush for this powder because look at what it did to the actual powder in the pan. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like little scratches now all over the product and it looks really ugly. First world problems, I know. But if you are like me and into the aesthetic of the product, that's going to annoy you. Having said that, I think this brush actually did work. It's not like a soft brush, but it's not like hard either. It's, yeah, I don't know. You'd have, I don't know how to explain it. You'd have to feel it for yourself. But I think this actually worked. This side has the powder on and this side is bare. I think it looks pretty good. I don't know how good the camera picks it up, but looking into the mirror, it looks pretty good. Like, I'm not expecting it to cover up everything. I mean, it is a powder, but I prefer a light coverage, just something to even out the skin tone and make other powders sit better on your skin, like bronzer and blush. So for that, it looks very good. Let me try the other side with the sponge. So they say to use the sponge for like a more full coverage application. I don't know if I should wet the sponge or not. Here we go. The lighting keeps changing because there is so many clouds going by my window, which is nothing new in Ireland. But hopefully it doesn't mess up the footage too much. So you see it does deposit quite a good of amount with the sponge. If I look at my forehead, the amount I put here is definitely less than with the sponge. I'm not gonna drag too much down my neck because I am gonna wipe this off and put on the liquid foundation. But this is a full face of the powder. So this is kind of like a more full coverage version with the sponge. And this one is more like a lighter coverage with the brush that it came with. To be honest, I think both of those worked fine. So if you are stuck for a brush or a sponge, you can go ahead and use the one that came with the powder. Okay, my friends, I'm gonna wipe off the powder and I will be right back, and then we are gonna apply the liquid foundation. Okay, my friends, I am back. I've removed the powder foundation and I did reapply my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base as a primer moisturizer. This is what I wear every day underneath my makeup. I'm not gonna wear anything different because let's say if I wore a different primer today and the foundation didn't look good, then I wouldn't know if it was the primer's fault or the foundation's fault. So therefore it is always good when trying out new things, just stick to the other products that you know and then you'll know how it actually performs. Let's apply the foundation again. This is the shade 4. I'll just do a little swatch on my face so you can kind of see the color. Hope you can see. And it is definitely a lot thicker consistency than the soft blur foundation because that one is really sheer. But let me just put the product all over my face and then blend it out. It is a tiny bit darker than my number 3 in the soft blur foundation, but as I said, the number 3 in the brightening foundation was just way too light. I mean, it was almost white. I will use a damp beauty blender to blend this out. I will bring this down my neck to match me better. Alright, so this is the foundation with one coat, and I used a damp beauty blender. Tiny bit tacky, but overall it doesn't feel makeup-y. I can't feel it on my skin. I think the finish does look nice and dewy. Obviously this is definitely not full coverage, it's definitely medium. I'm not sure if we can build it up more. I mean, we can try put a little bit more here where my pores are and see if it covers them more. But personally, this is how I would leave it. I wouldn't put any more on. Okay, yeah, so I think it's definitely easy and buildable, so you can definitely build it up to a almost full coverage. I don't think it could be a full coverage, but I don't think that is actually the idea. The idea is to kind of look like a brightening foundation and more natural rather than a full-on cake base. But if you wanted to, you could definitely build it up a little bit more than just medium coverage. I'm gonna put the same amount on the other side here, just to even it out. So this is what the foundation looks a little bit further away. I do like it. It's nice and dewy, as they said. It doesn't feel heavy. It's definitely breathable. It is medium coverage, not full coverage. But as I said, for me, even this is a bit too much. I prefer the soft blur one just because it has a sheer coverage. It did give me a nice tan though. I mean, it looks like I was just on a sun holiday. Right, so the last thing I want to do is I want to pair up the powder foundation with the liquid foundation, so let's do that now. Now obviously whenever you put a powder foundation on top of a dewy foundation, it's going to take away that dewiness and make you look matte. But also if you are looking for a more fuller coverage, then combining a liquid foundation and a powder foundation is going to give you that full coverage look. I will use my regular brush now, just because it's a lot faster. And this brush I use all the time for my powder. And I didn't use a lot of powder at all. I mean, this is enough already, but I will just put a little bit more down my neck. Okay, my friends, this is what the liquid foundation and powder foundation look together. I actually lied before. You can still see a little bit of the dewiness from underneath, which I live for. It looks really good. Obviously, I didn't put like a whole ton of powder on. That's probably the reason why it still looks dewy. And the powder is really nice on the skin. It is really velvety, as it claims to be. Rightio, liquid foundation is on, powder foundation is on. Let me just finish up the face and come back, and then we can talk about our overall thoughts about this. Full face of makeup is now on. Super easy. Just some blush, bronzer, highlight, mascara, lips. For the face, I did use my Cheek Leaders Bronze Squad palette. If you haven't seen the review on this, I will link it up in the cards and at the end of the video. If you have not seen or bought one of these palettes, I think you should. They are really great value for money and the products are bomb. I just use a little bit of Hoola, what's this, Coralista blush and the cookie highlighter, which is like my favorite thing ever. I mean, look at that highlight. For mascara, I just used a mini size of their Roller Lash. This is also from Benefit. And for the lips, I used my Maybelline Superstay Ink Crayon in the shade Trust Your Gut. I also have a video on this one, so I will link that up here as well. And just topped it up with a little bit of Fenty Beauty gloss in the shade Fussy. I really like this gloss. It's super nice and the smell is amazing. Okay, so let's round up some final thoughts. I will do a check-in for you guys later. I will put that at the end of the video, but for now, this is kind of a second impression. I have worn these once before. The foundation, I really like the packaging. I think that is a step up, really like that. I don't know if I mentioned the price. They are both 32 euros, which I think is okay because usually the foundations nowadays are like close to the 40 range, so 32 is pretty good for this one and this one. I do like that the foundation has SPF 15. I do like that it is dewy and apparently has all these nice things that are good for your skin. You know that it's supposed to hydrate you and give you a nice brightening look. However, what I don't really like is kind of the shade range. It's very small, only 12 shades, and I wish the foundation shades would have corresponded with the shades in the soft blur range. It would have been a lot easier to kind of get my shade. Coverage wise, it's definitely a buildable medium coverage if you are into that. Personally, I prefer a sheer coverage. I am not a liquid foundation gal at this point in my life. Having said that, will I keep using this? Yes, absolutely. If I have to go on a night out or somewhere where I need a little bit more coverage, then I'm definitely gonna use this. I have already noticed though that I am getting a little bit oily here, and that is not uncommon for me. Usually here and on my forehead is where I get oily. I just didn't expect it to happen so soon. I mean, it could be I set my face with Max Fix Plus as well. I always do that. So maybe that made me look a little bit more dewy, but I will keep an eye on it and then keep you posted. The powder foundation definitely gets a thumbs up from me because I like powder foundations. I think the shade matched me good and it didn't feel like I had powder on my face. It is velvety and soft to the touch. It does come with a little brush and a sponge if you need to. I'm not the biggest fan of the packaging closure wise. It's only magnetic. I don't know, I kind of feel like it's a little bit loose. You know, if you keep the brush and the sponge in there, it's like rattling. I'm kind of like afraid to just put this in my makeup bag. I think I will just keep it with the box. Well, you know me, I always keep things in the box anyway, so that's nothing new. In terms of whether to buy this or not, again, it is up to you. If you liked how the products performed in the video, then definitely go for it. I don't think if you would get any of these products, you would be disappointed. I did show you the application of both the powder and the foundation. Hopefully that kind of gave you a better understanding of how they perform. Personally, I definitely prefer the powder to the liquid foundation, but that is just my personal preference. I don't really like a liquid foundation in general. If I had to choose between the soft blur and the brightening foundation, I think soft blur wins for me, but I already told you that is because of the coverage. So yeah, the final decision is up to you to make, but I hope this video was somewhat helpful. If you have tried this foundation or if you're going to buy this foundation, let me know in the comments. I think that would be really interesting to know. Okay guys, this is me checking in. I've had the foundation on for about 6.5, almost 7 hours. I'm now in my PJs, and as you can see, I'm quite shiny here in my T-zone, but this is completely expected. I knew this was gonna happen. I really want to touch this up with powder, but I'm at home now, so I'm not gonna touch it up anymore. I'm just gonna take it off after this. The foundation has come off here because I did one of these, so I wiped it off my face. So that's not really the foundation's fault, that is mine. Overall, it's lasted pretty good. It's just that it's gone super dewy. Try to get you a bit closer so you can see. lasted pretty well on my chin. Doesn't look oily here, but definitely around this area it is very dewy. To be honest, this is nothing a little powder can't fix. I always carry my powder with me so I can touch up at any time. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied of how the powder and foundation lasted. I might get a little bit of different results after 12-hour wear, but I'm not planning on wearing the foundations for 12 hours anytime soon. If I do, I will leave a note down in the description box. Okay, that's me checking out. Bye. Thank you again for watching this video. I will link here some more videos that you might enjoy, so go ahead and click on them. And until next time, I will see you later. Bye.